So, let's jump into our first article for the day. And oh boy, it's a doozy.
So how black is this pill?
It's fucking hilarious. If it were, well, it's tragic and hilarious.
Oh, I can get into tragic and hilarious.
Yeah.
Is it going to be tragically delicious?
Yes. Here we fucking go. Burning down barriers. Female firefighter conference causes out of control forest fire.
They set the fire for this
Yes.
purposely to prove that women could do firefighting.
Yes.
Oh, why am I reminded of that 80s song, We Didn't Start the Fire?
No, the women did.
You guys know that women at work thing, I don't know. There's these skits in Louder with Crowder, where you have women doing the typical man jobs, right? And they always fail at it. This is basically that made into real life.
Yes. Yes, it is. Training exercise aims to build allies by showcasing the value of gender diversity and inclusion. And the value of gender diversity and inclusion is apparently a colossal fuck up that nearly killed a bunch of people.
3 houses damaged. Could have had people in them. Could have burnt them down.
It's
Oh, that's
okay,
just
it was
spreading
for
diversity if they burn them down.
Yeah, it's okay. They died for
It's making them
diversity.
black, right?
To be fair, the diversity, inclusion, and equity virus is basically like a big fucking forest fire.
Alternator comes in with the sickest bone and says, "We didn't start the fire. It was always burning with the women voting." Oh, fuck. There goes the YouTube channel.
Yes, YouTube, that was a joke. We don't genuinely believe these horrible misogynistic things.
Despite all the evidence, we refuse to acknowledge it.
That's right. We're
I am sorry, Jonathan Crow, but I do not believe you when you say that.
And now we're done for racism on top of it.
Sorry, yeah.
I just love the context sentence there. Banff National Park in Canada, where South American migrants have been fleeing to escape lawless squalor of big American cities. So what do the Canadian women do? They burn them out.
But yeah,
accidentally based?
I thought it was a troll article at first, so I
Yeah, Stormy is dying.
It's actually on CBC News as well.
Yes,
in Canada.
it is actually true.
Except the way CBC News decided to talk about it was Parks Canada to complete review of prescribed burn. No mention of the women doing it and the reasons behind controlled burn.
Prescribed burn.
Just a review.
Yes, the Compound Meadows prescribed fire excursion is now classified as under control. Regrettably, during this incident, there was a loss of infrastructure and valuable personal items belonging to members of the community. Parks Canada wishes to extend sincere condolences to those community members who lost. Yes, at no point in the article do they mention that it was a women in firefighting exercise.
Yep, no mention about the equity and inclusion or anything like that. They decide to make it very clear that this has nothing to do with women. This is just a fire gone wrong.
Yep.
You know what's funny? That you actually, instead of making all one or all the other, you instead make a workforce where the people's individual strengths strengthen the whole, instead of being like, no, we're gonna do this ideology based and not fuck us all up.
Well, the problem...
Shut up, Trim. Take the diversity.
The problem, Trim, is when you hire based on merit, apparently you never hire women.
The big issue here.
I'm waiting for Disco to come in and just
media...
yell at me and throw something in my head.
But I think get women, but in a lot of these jobs, you get a smaller pool of women applying in the first place. So you're obviously going to get a lesser percentage of women, unless you start saying, well, we'll just take all the women that apply.
But this is the problem with meritocracy. People have individual freedoms to make choices, and those do not match the diversity quotas that people want. They never will. freedom of choice leads to disparities like that.
Yes.
How many women want to work on a fucking oil rig?
Probably not many.
About
Then if you've
20%
got-
of the workforce
Yeah,
in an oil rig are women.
When you say workforce, you're going to need to redefine terms there.
The people who work on the rig.
Yes, I know,
Yeah.
but that's not what I was getting at.
Oh, sorry.
When you say people who work on rigs, how many
Yes.
of them, the women, are actually riggers as opposed to ancillary staff?
Oh, that is, well, even less.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and then in comes the problem where you say, well, we need 50% of these workers to be women.
Yes,
But
despite the fact that only
We
one
have
tenth of
such
the
a small pool of women who are actually applying in the first place that we just have to scoop up any woman who drops an application form in. And if
Yeah.
you start doing the same thing with the men, like we need to accept every man who drops an application form in, you're gonna get some fucking idiots on the male
Oh, yeah.
side too.
Well, we've seen
Yeah.
what happens when you do that. It's called the NYPD.
Well, to be fair, they get what they deserve in so many, many horrible, terrible ways.
I think
yeah.
what bothers me most about this is that Parks Canada's article, the one that you had from CBC, completely omits anything about the reason behind it. So again, it's the media again going out of its way to lie to you by not talking to you about what's really going on, just completely omitting bits of information that are important to the context of the articles themselves.
Yep, it's almost as if they're deliberately hiding it. So
Yeah.
It took me a while to actually find any major sort of organization even covering the fire, let alone talking about the original reason.
yep.
Yeah, this reminds me of a piece I covered not too long ago about a shooting instructor for a police service in the States who was injured by a fellow officer negligently discharging. And they point out in the story that it was a male instructor to mention the gender of the person who had shot him.
Yeah, wasn't that the one in Australia just last week?
Actually, it might have been, yeah.
But yeah,
So,
yeah, male sergeant wounded by, and then they refused to tell us the gender of the other officer.
yeah, that's it.
Like, why'd you have to mention the gender of one?
So that you wouldn't know the gender of the other?
Yeah,
Diversity!
yes. So,
Quite convenient that they always mention the gender and skin color of someone who is of the out group.
yes.
If you're
These-
Caucasian.
These quotas really annoy me though, because like if you are good at your field as a female or a person of color or whatever, if you are genuinely good at your field, and there are people who are, but they get a job, everybody's always going to question, did you get there because you were good, or did you get
Yep.
there because they needed a quota? Like, you have your achievements, your merits actually undermined if you could have got there on merit.
Speaking
Speaking
of-
annoying.
Yeah, speaking of how some people are good at their jobs, Jane Park, the female fire management specialist who helped organise the conference, described the group of women who accidentally started the forest fire as the cream of the crop.
That's terrifying.
Yes, if these are the
Well,
bit,
They certainly creamed the crop.
if
Unless
yes,
their goal was to burn out the illegal immigrants.
The worst thing about it, though, on your point, Disco, is that when you have really good people in their job, woman, man, but then you have incompetent people come along that are being hired for the sake of, oh, we need the diversity, those people fuck up. It then tars the entire group with the same brush. Oh, women are incompetent. Women can't be firefighters.
Yeah.
Women can't do this.
Yeah, but it does annoy me because I'm in STEM, and
Mm.
the fact that I could get any job, and with the grades that I got, I probably could have got quite a decent job in the industry if I hadn't went freelance or went into indie. But there always would have been the question over my head, despite how hard I worked for my degree, despite the grades that I got, of if I worked into a workplace, like, did you get here on merit, or did somebody just need to check a box? And that's
Yeah.
horrible.
Mhm.
The other thing also introduces self-doubt. Like you have to question yourself whether you're just there in that uni as a diversity quota. or
I
not.
mean, imposter syndrome's bad enough in the IC field
Yeah.
already. Now add in my diversity and equity and inclusion.
Yeah.
Because ultimately, the damage it does to women like Disco in the workforce is irreparable, because then every move you make is questioned, and
Yeah.
the value of your work is always undermined because of some bimbo who just got the job because she looks good in a pencil skirt at an interview
Mhm.
versus a woman who can go in blindfolded, program something, and walk away and there's no bugs.
Mhm.
And the biggest problem is they don't even hire them because they look good in a pencil skirt. Does your so-called gender tick this diversity box? Oh yes.
Have I currently got enough women on the workforce? No. Okay, let's throw the CV in the bin. All I needed was the pronouns. On you come. And it's like, well, you just undermine everybody who actually puts the effort in.
Well, who
just-
remembers when in I think it was New South Wales or somewhere else in the southern parts of Australia, they decided they were going to do blind hiring to promote diversity. So they removed the pronouns and the names from resumes, and then they found out that women
Yeah,
weren't getting
Pepper
hired
Stern
as
remembers.
much. Then they found out the women weren't getting hired as much, so they got rid of that.
It's funny. This is also one of the reasons that CVs in the UK typically don't have pictures on, because it's basically illegal now in the UK, or it has been for a while, to ask for a photo of the person who's applying for a job.
I think
in case you are prejudiced against their appearance.
Yeah, I think in most places it's illegal to do that, unless it's for like something on camera.
But you're gonna get people now who are gonna put their fucking pronouns on their bio, probably just to get the job, because they're like, oh well, they're not gonna hire a man because they fucking hate men. So, but I want this job and I want the money, so I'm gonna say I'm a she/her and just whatever.
So there's one thing I want to point out, that in a kitchen, that's the least. While it is actually one of the more gender diverse areas I've ever worked in, it is also the one that is most hostile toward that kind of thinking. Because the stress level and the way we work,
Yeah,
we have
it's
the
almost
worst
as if
kind of
being a
humor and
lazy,
everything.
useless sack of shit stands out in a kitchen. You can't just wipe it, slide it under the rug like you can in a corporation.
Oh yeah, and the frustration with what we have to deal with. So many people just use horrible jokes, and the thing is, you can't find anyone who has that California mindset in a kitchen, at least any of the kitchens I work to, because the shit we joke about, I can't even hint at it on YouTube safely. I sat down with a head chef from another boat yesterday as I was waiting for my plane ride home. And he says like, "Oh, dude, the shit I say. If we had one of those HR departments in Norway, I would have been fired years ago."
But crucially, remember, only men can prevent forest fires. Oh, and Stormy says that she got a job. Yay!
Hooray!
Congratulations.
I gotta say though, with the migrant crisis on the U.S. border, I sure want these women firefighters down there taking care of business.
They have
No.
a job to do.
Exactly. Not even sorry.
No. Bleach. Even
Tram.
better.
Trim. YouTube.
What? I'm just saying God can't do all the work in New York.
Trem, no, just saying.
Oh,
Use the inside voice.
I got Bap to give.
Use the
Honestly.
inside voice and just chuckle quietly at your own joke.
No, we said chuckle quietly.
Oh. I'm being repressed by my own team.
I was going to say that
Yes.
sounded very maniacal for repressed.
Well, I think he went with sexually repressed.
Oh, so like a female firefighter.
Yes.
It's going to set the bed
Put
on
the
fire.
matches down.
Fuck.
Oh, well, we've
we
lost him
broken
now.
the trim again. 36 minutes to a broken trim. Is that a record?
Yeah.
No. No, sadly.
Jesus Christ.
Oh,
I
dear.
love being here. It hurts. The black pills hurts, but it's always a laugh.
If you enjoyed this clip from the Sons of Chardonnay podcast, please consider joining us live at 2 p.m. London time every Saturday.